Welcome to Tech Talks, Evolving Distribution. I'm Corey Hayes, and with me is Bill Rosado. Today, we're exploring how digital transformation is reshaping the distribution industry.
That's right. From e-commerce platforms to CRM tools, we talk with industry experts about how distribution can embrace these changes and thrive in the ever-changing space.
Whether you're just getting started or looking for new insights, we've got you covered. Today's episode is packed with information to help you navigate the digital shift.
So let the tech talk begin.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tech Talks. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time you're tuning in. We just thank you for jumping on and listening to this conversation. I'm Corey Hayes. With me, as always, Bill Rosado. Bill, how are you doing today?
It's a beautiful day. It's sunny.
Yeah. Summer is in full swing, and we are very excited to have David Key on today. David, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You're down south where it's even a little bit hotter, so we shouldn't complain too much.
Yeah, everything's melting down here right now in the summer, but we've had a nice little cool breeze come through, a nice 78. So
Nice.
it's been cool, the past week or so.
Awesome. Well, thanks for jumping on. Super excited to get in the conversation with you today. Before we do, just run through a quick intro. I know I just told everybody you're David Key, but tell us who David Key is. What's your experience that you've had in digital transformation, just high level, real quick. Introduce yourself to the listener.
Absolutely. So for nearly 2 decades, I've spent my whole time in e-commerce. First starting out as a seller and right in college, and then growing into leading digital transformation projects. My predictive index is artesian, and really what that means is I'm really process driven, precision oriented, and always looking to improve things. Also, that can later be one of the most difficult things when you're trying to have a digital transformation project. Right now, I'm currently pursuing my MBA in business analytics and information technology. I could have chosen the easier MBA in marketing since I have a lot of background in that, but I chose the harder path because I want to master the data and the AI skills that's going to be really defining the next decade. So it's combining that with what a digital transformation is. The focus is simple. You take an ERP accuracy, PIM content, and marketing, and align that all in one component. And that's me.
Yeah.
Awesome. But
That's
that's.
awesome.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Corey.
I was just going to say, I remember when I worked specifically with you on a digital transformation project for a specific, customer of ours that I was super impressed with just how well-rounded of an individual you were, how knowledgeable you were, and just happy to have you on the call today.
I appreciate that. I have faults, but I'm constantly aware of those. So
Yeah.
I try to make those, make those better.
Yeah, so we're really excited to have you because we think there's a lot that you can be able to teach and share with the community that we're in, right? Distribution. And you hit on some key things, but can you tell me in some of the projects that you've been involved with in the past, what challenges have you seen in those type of digital transformation projects?
I would say one of the biggest challenges I've seen is that journey gap. When you have offline sales processes, initiatives undermine the digital channel. When you have that disconnect, that makes it really difficult to go forward. Especially when like technology is built in a vacuum, like without marketing's early involvement. This leads to like low adoption. So you could have a perfect ERP integration, weak product content, missing attributes, poor taxonomy, bad images, but that's the thing, is that gap. Another one, I would say, that's probably one of the main ones, but when you have those those projects that aren't aligned with marketing, with sales, it just falls through. That's what I've seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've seen that over and over and over again, kind of just in our projects, and really since we've started this conversation, I think that's been one of the main vocal points, is including your team, getting perspective from everybody that really needs to be involved, and just being inclusive when it comes to a conversation around what you expect your digital transformation to look like, what goals you expect it to accomplish. And I like what you said there because uh, kind of kind of you hit on it. Even if you don't have a great ERP integration, or even if you do, whatever side of the spectrum that you sit on, whether ERP is super powerful or not, your team is still the most important part to your digital transformation. Of course, have a powerful ERP, have one that's flexible, have one that does a lot for you and your team, but don't neglect the important team. And I think that speaks a lot of volumes to what a digital transformation project is value. So on the flip side of that, what makes a successful digital transformation project? You've seen that's what somebody does that doesn't go so well. What have you seen when a digital transformation is
Well, I mean, you hit it off exactly what you said, is having, a successful ERP. Like
Mhm.
that's the first reliability. So, your pricing, your inventory, um, those are going to be that. If you have that strong ERP, that's a great start,
Mhm.
because that's what the PIM is going to really need. That product information management tool
Mhm.
is it's going to be able to use your information from your ERP to really be able to push that along. And of course, marketing and that flow from the beginning, not after you launch the site, but having that from the very beginning, that's going to be core. One of the colleagues of mine that taught me this early on was, when you're building out a new project, start with a minimum viable product, because you can constantly grow that product after. But you want to start getting a return of investment on that project. So you can spend years and years and years trying to get all that product information curated and cleaned up before you launch, or you can start with a minimum viable product, get the necessary items, your SKUs and your weights and your product dimensions and everything that the customer is going to look in your images. You can get this information curated from, product aggregators and put it in, and then they can order that product. But then constantly being able to see that PIM grow and that product information grow over time, the customer is going to see that, and they're going to be like, hey, this company is changing, it's growing, it's adapting, it's making it better. That's one thing that he taught me, because I was focused on, as my artesian mind, you need to get everything perfect before you launch. And he's like, no, we don't. We need to get the money back to pay for this giant monstrosity that we're trying
Yeah.
to build. And to do that is that return of investments. Launch small, but launch right. So then you can grow that constantly. So I've seen that, and that's, connecting that is important. And I've seen that, as a lot of successful companies do. They're constantly curating that product data over and over.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, yeah, that is an incredible point, and it's funny you say that, because we've had some other people say that too, right? Call it MVP, right? The
Mhm.
MVP is getting that product out there quickly, and then
Mhm.
evolving, right? That evolution of where you go from there, and then finding that key partner that can help you, right? Be able to get something up quickly. We hear, and going back to horror stories, Corey and I hear all the time, right? Oh yeah, we're about to go live. It's been 2 years, and it's just like, that's just painful, right? For us to hear something like that, because you're right, that's a huge investment to wait anywhere from 12 to 24 months to go live.
Yeah.
Mm, that
Yeah.
hurts. That hurts my soul.
Yeah, going back to my implementation days, I felt like that was a conversation that I had on repeat where, somebody was insistent upon getting everything absolutely perfect before go live. And then we just kind of get stuck in this state of just feels like never ending limbo, right? And yeah, I 100% agree and concur that in the projects that I've seen gone right, it's the people that, hey, let's just get out the door and then we can continue to work on this. We have all the time. And kind of what you touched on, learning your PIM, understanding the capabilities of your PIM, having a very close knit relationship with it. Because what inevitably happens, and I've seen this too, is somebody goes live with their project and then they just don't touch the PIM for months. And that's not good either. Like that's
Mm-mm.
something that's supposed to be a living and breathing tool that's ever changing and affecting the information that's on your site. So having a close
Yeah,
relationship with that PIM. Go ahead.
yeah, I know. You actually said a phrase that I've said multiple times, where it's a living, breathing.
Mm,
And I think even more so, if you're watching this and you're a CEO, or you have a some kind of VP that's in charge of this, if you don't have the time to constantly look at your PIM and see what's going on, you hire people that's their profession. That's what they know. That's their that's what they live and breathe every day, and rely on those people to do that. Because I've been in this situation before. I've been on both sides where I've acted, unfortunately, with this mindset that we need to have everything perfect before launch. I've been there and I thought it was true. And then I've seen the other side of that of, oh, that's not true. This person that I thought was crazy is right. And we are now, launching a site that is gaining traction. And so now we're going to make it
mhm,
better. And then I've been on the other side of telling people, hey, ringing the bell, we need to launch. We need to,
mm,
we need to launch minimum so we can constantly improve it. This is the way, this is the way. So uh, I've been there, and it's hard to tell somebody that's on the other side, because I've been there too. It's hard to tell them, hey, this is what you want to do, because in your mind you're like, no,
no,
that's not what my customers need. Well, I think it is, because they
mm,
want to order the product, right? So you need to have it where they can order it. And if it's not launched, they can't order it unless they go the old way. So
yeah. So
yeah.
I know you kind of talked about that mentor of yours that you thought was crazy at first, but it's interesting because you say that you're on both sides of it. Do you remember the specific moment where you flipped, like where it clicked for you? Like what was that made it click? Or I know you kind of touched on it, but
Experiencing it.
yeah.
And then that was, a $1 million company. It was,
Mhm,
about 200 to 500 people working at that company. And then when I moved to another company that was thousands of employees, multi-billion-dollar company, the second largest industrial supplier in the nation, I saw what they did. And I was like, oh, okay. Then it really, there's always pros and cons everywhere you go,
mhm,
but I saw what they did great. And and when you learn different things and you talk to different mentors and you hear these amazing leaders out there in e-commerce and that are preaching about a certain way to do something, and then you look at the marketing side of it and the customer engagement side of it, and you put it all together, you can see where there's gaps, and you can see which company is addressing those gaps, and it makes a huge difference. So right before I left the smaller company,
mm,
and then when I saw the larger company and what they were doing, I think that's when it really, really hit me. And I saw, wow, there's a lot of, in the enterprise, there was a lot of right things they were doing. There was also a lot of red tape that you had to go through. You couldn't just do it yourself. You had to go through this channel and this channel and this channel,
mm,
which in a sense that can be good, but you can also automate some of those processes, or um, lean them out, making a long situation that you had to do and change that workflow where it's much quicker. But that was the pivotal point for me where, okay, this crazy guy is telling me to launch this, thing, and that's not what you want to do. But okay, it's actually working. Oh, that's interesting. And then going to a larger company and they're doing that, and it's like they're constantly evolving their PIM,
Yeah.
and seeing that and being a part of that and seeing in that team, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. This billion-dollar company still doesn't have great product information. So how are they selling all this? Well, they're doing it because you're constantly improving that product information.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you're comparing to working for a small or working for a large billion-dollar company, and they have the same challenges, right? Is kind of
Absolutely.
what you're saying. So the things that you learn from a billion-dollar company, how does that cross over to a smaller company, right? That doesn't have the billions of dollars that they're working with. How do you see that be successful for smaller companies doing the same things that a billion-dollar company does?
Yeah, there's still, and if you look at it, there's everyone is kind of dealing with the same problems. And you I think the really key thing that I saw was when you go from trying to handle it yourself, and of course smaller companies, they may not have the resources to hire individual people to handle those problems. So you have one person trying to do multiple different things at once. But there are technologies out there that will help and assist getting to that point, at least making your workload a little bit less so you can focus on something else.
Mm.
We AI is out there. It's what we talk about now with the recent release of ChatGPT 5 is going to be outdated in 6 months or in a year. It's constantly improving and constantly growing. And if you're not part of that, if you're not learning, your competitors are going to get that and they're going to have the edge over you. AI, there's this stigma that they're going to take over people and it's going to take people's jobs. It's AI is not going to take people's jobs, but people that don't know AI are going to be the ones that stay, and the people that don't know AI are the people that are going to be left behind.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I you've said a lot of big tips in here, and maybe just use this as a chance to recap on the conversation as a whole. But
Yeah.
if you could put one on a billboard or on a t-shirt, what's that one big tip that a company needs that's looking to embark on a digital transformation?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Um, I would say my top, well, I just said the AI one,
Yeah.
but I think my top two, along with this, and it kind of goes together, is launch small, but launch right. So obviously, if you have an e-commerce, the second tip will be more to you. But if you haven't launched an e-commerce or a B2B e-commerce, or launch small and then build that, get that. But the trick is you need to get that return of investment. So you start paying for what you're working on. If you've already launched and you have an e-commerce, I would say, your customers are the whole reason why you have built this e-commerce. So if you constantly improve what that pain point is for that customer, that's going to be the key. So find out, get feedback from your customers and find out what their pain point is and work on that every week and stack up those resolutions for those customers.
Mm.
Small wins are great. If it's something that's going to take a month or two, let's find something that we can knock out in this week, and those will change.
Yeah.
Those will absolutely help you. So those are my big wins.
Yeah. We have a saying here at Aldrich, we move at the speed of trust.
Mhm.
And everything that you just said, like, I was just resonating in my mind as build trust, build trust.
Yep.
And sometimes trust can move pretty quick, but if you take the right steps to actually foster a relationship of trust, uh, your customers are going to like when an e-commerce solution, B2B e-commerce solution is pushed out, even if it's
Yeah,
quicker than what you necessarily think it is, when they have a place that they can access customer information, submit orders, get that right at their fingertips, all that information that's in your ERP, that fosters trust. And then working on it from there, building it out from that small launch, like you're talking about, just continues to foster a greater trust between you and your customer. So
absolutely.
that was great. Bill, any thoughts that you have? Any questions you got?
No, I really appreciate you being on here, David. We've
Thank you.
always been a big fan, right, in the
Yeah,
conversations that we had about your knowledge, and being able to take the time to share this with our community is very important, and we appreciate that.
I think we can all learn together and help each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies out there that are, you know, against each other, but we're all in the big grand scheme of things to help one another.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you
Yeah.
having me on here.
If I could put another saying that you put on a t-shirt, I'd say AI won't take your job, but you can lose it. Or something
Absolutely.
along those lines.
I'll print out a t-shirt and I'll send you one.
Well, I appreciate it. That's funny. Yeah, David, thank you so much for jumping on. Great conversation. I really feel like we gained a lot. Thank you so much to the listener for tuning into this conversation at Tech
Yes.
Talk. Remember, we launch an episode every first and third Thursday of the month. So be sure to check it out. Thank you so much and have a great one. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Tech Talk's Evolving Distribution. Thanks for tuning in.
And we hope you've gained some valuable insights on how to embrace digital transformation and stay ahead in the distribution industry.
A special thanks to our sponsor, Aldrich Web Solutions, for supporting this podcast. With over 20 years of experience, they've been helping distributors win online and maximize their digital presence. Be sure to check them out if you're ready to take your business to the next level.
And if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And of course, share this with anyone who could benefit from this conversation.
We'll be back next time with more expert insights. And until then, keep evolving and embracing change.